Stop putting your enemies on a pedestal when they're supposed to be a footstool, and stop condemning yourself for a past that only prepared you for your purpose. If there is one word, one common theme, one subject that I've been on as of late, is that life isn't fair, but neither is favor. And the very experiences, emotions, trials, tests that you've had only prepared you for your future, only prepared you to build your character, your faith, your passion, your business, all these different things. And the problem is that we as humans, we as emotional beings, we as people with egos and feelings, we get so stuck on how we feel or what we see that we fail to take ourselves out of situations and understand what the bigger picture is. And this morning, I was reflecting on that and looking at my life now in December 2022 and comparing it to Decembers of former years, 2018, 17, going far back. And I realized that God really allowed me to go through things, to have success, to have failures, to see, mountaintops and valleys, because it was all preparation. Even failing, even falling short, even being a fool. It was just as much preparation as succeeding, as overcoming. And that is because 10 times out of 10, the overall story, the overall moral is that it's not always about you. It's not always about how you feel. It's not always how you look. It's not always about what people think about you or do for you or how they treat you. It's what you get from it. And I realized, looking back, that I had different idols in life. Some people, they idolize money. Some people, they idolize status. I idolized people, validation, acceptance, which really trickled down into a lot of overdoing, overcompensating, people pleasing, not sharing my feelings or how I really felt about things. So then when I went through seasons of these deep emotional issues or trauma, I couldn't even articulate a sentence because I couldn't understand myself. I'd been so good at being the perfect picture for other people that when I needed help or when I was struggling, I couldn't help myself. And I was having conversations recently, and I was saying how self-work and therapy and faith and just really looking at the overall lessons in life, God has shown me so many times of my life where I gave credit to the enemy or even physical enemies and didn't realize that was God teaching me something. I remember times of my life, and I talk about forgiveness and grace and mercy now because that was something I always struggled with, whether it was extending it to myself or extending it to other people. I remember seasons of my life where I was so angry that my prayers were not, oh God, bless people or help people see. No. I wanted Jesus to take the wheel and run some folks over. Or I went through seasons where I had so much condemnation that I saw nothing of value within myself. And looking back through, with eyes of wisdom or maturity, God has shown me that there are many seasons that we go through in life where things are not fair. Situations are not fair. People are not fair. Conversations are not fair. But you know what else isn't fair? Favor. Favor is not fair. And if you're in a season where all you can see is pain, unfairness, bitterness, anger, depression, paranoia, all these things, I want you to look again. I want you to look at the situation. I want you to look at the people. I want you to look at yourself. And I want you to, instead of seeing enemies and pain, I want you to see tests, lessons, and teachers. And a lot of times, the experiences or the people that we label as our enemies are actually our greatest inspirations. They are our greatest inspirations to work on our mental health or build a relationship with God, or those seasons that test us and the seasons that we fail. They are our greatest inspirations to work on ourselves, look at ourselves and see what is toxic within me. What do I need to work on within me? Because let me tell you something. We can be mad at the world all day, but at the same time, there's something that allows us to allow certain people into our lives. There's something that allows us to go through situations. We can point the finger all day, but the person we really should be looking at is ourselves. And if we can take that from our experiences and our emotions, we will realize that the very things that we think are destroying us are the very things that are developing us, our character, our mindset, our wisdom, our maturity, and preparing us to be the people that we were created to be. So I say that because we are going into a new year. Many of us are in seasons of transition or preparation and feel this like divine discontentment. Like we're doing a lot of things, we see a lot of growth and positivity, but I'm not there yet. This is not the promise yet. I'm not walking in the victory yet. And maybe the reason why is because you're holding on to things that you don't need to hold on to. Maybe you're holding on to unforgiveness of other people and yourself. Maybe you're replaying your biggest regrets or biggest failures on repeat, and you see them or hear them at night before you go to bed or when you wake up in the morning. Maybe you're holding on to friendships that expired years ago, but you cannot fathom or accept the fact that those people are not meant to go into the next chapter or into the next season. Maybe you're holding on to this view of who you should be. Whatever it is that you're holding on to, that is just weighing you down professionally, spiritually, emotionally, personally, you have to let it go. And you have to let it go with love. That's the key. You can't let it go and wish death upon people. You can't let it go and have all this bitterness. No, you have to let it go and say it has served its purpose. They have served their purpose. I see the purpose in my decisions or my journey or my path, everything. I'm letting it go and I'm moving forward, not with the weights and the baggage, but with the lessons that it taught me. And you're letting go unapologetically and oftentimes without explanation, because the person that you were created to be, the person that you were formed to be, had to go through every single thing up until this point. That person had to hurt you. You had to make that mistake. You had to deal with that suffering, because that suffering is what opened your eyes. Whatever it may be, it's time to make peace with it, and it's time to move forward from it. Now, do you have to be around the people that hurt you? Absolutely not. Because I would be lying if I told you that it's a great time to smile in the faces of people that stabbed you in the back. It's not. But sometimes that is the greatest test of all, is to love people that you know maybe showed hate towards you. Do you have to love and want to go back to every part of the journey that you had, making the mistakes, feeling the shame, struggling, or dealing with embarrassment? No. But I would love for you to take the lessons from it, take the wisdom from it, and use that as the energy that carries you or pushes you to the next level. Use it as something that gives you empathy to where you can advise somebody in that next season so they don't go through the same thing that you went through. It is not always just about you. So remember that when you're letting all that go. Remember that life isn't fair and neither is favor. Remember that revelation is far more valuable than reaction. And do all this with faith and with focus as you move forward. So, yeah, I know that a lot of times it's easier to sit in pain, especially if you've been sitting in it for a long time. It gets comfortable. I know a lot of times when we get in that season of isolation, you don't want to get out. Whether that isolation was brought upon you through depression and you started working on yourself and you're like, man, I really love myself, but I really don't like people. I don't want to engage with them anymore. You have to step out of it. Isolation is a season. It is not a lifestyle. Take those lessons, take the blessings, take the mindset, and unapologetically move forward with it. Don't worry about the past. See the purpose in the pain and move forward into your future. I'm telling you, there is joy on the other side if you stop looking behind you. There is joy on the other side if you stop trying to take unequally yoked friendships, relationships, opportunities, places, environments with you. Walk that path, even if it's by yourself. Even if it's misunderstood, even if it hurts, you have to push through. You have to push forward, and I promise there is greater on the other side. So I just want to encourage you today and remind you that the best is yet to come. And every single thing that you went through had a profound purpose. It taught you a lesson, but now it's time to apply it. So I love you guys, and I hope you have a great day. Remember, life isn't fair, but neither is favor.